I am a watchman on the wall, assigned, and as such, I cannot remain silent about the present goings on in this country, as we may be closer to a civil war today than we were yesterday. Hi folks, I hope this video is finding you well, and today I must speak out as I feel that there is the possibility of certain danger pressing about our stations and estates. Ezekiel chapter 3 and verse 17. Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel, therefore hear the word at my mouth, and give them warning from me. My friends, the Jews in the land of stolen sands is not the Israel to which that verse is referring, as the Jews in Palestine are not Israel, but are the seed of the wicked one, and his lusts they will do without batting an eye. And please know that I am visited by the Holy Spirit of our Father, and I am inspired to relate to you certain warning concerning this grave subject matter, and know ye this also, this is not fear-mongering, as I did not imagine millions of fighting aged men and women invading our southern border, not in the dark of night mind you, but in the light of day they have been allowed to come, all the while violating our immigration laws. My so beloved familiars here, as Ezekiel was then, I am now, instructed to warn you of an approaching danger, and folks, watchman is Strong's word number H6822, with the H denoting a Hebrew word, and the Hebraic word for watchman is the three-consonant word DTV, pronounced tsafa, which means to lean forward, yea, to peer into the distance, to observe, await, behold, espy, look up ably, wait for, keep the watch, hence watchman. My friends, a watchman is assigned to look out, or about, ahead, to spy, to keep a close watch, observe, to have an eye peeled, to watch closely for an upcoming event or happening. I know that if there are fence-sitters listening, they will cast this off as sourced in a faulty imagination, but for those of you having full knowledge that you are the children of God, blessed with eyes to see and ears to hear, you may have the same feeling, and you have seen the same things that I am now warning of, and my friends, it is not my imagination, as there is no question that millions of people that hate us have come across our southern border, and for those of you unaware, we are hated because we are Americans, and years ago, the questionable leadership of the United States did some things which were not very nice to the relatives of those whom are invading our country as we speak, which we had no part in, but we are the offspring of the offenders and perpetrators that committed those damning atrocities against their countries. Folks, God said that in the end days all will be revealed, and the following would not be as easily revealed without the help of the internet, gifted us of our Father Yahweh, and this is what a certain brood hidden did to the peoples of Central and South America, while wearing the cloak of active members of the leadership of the United States. For example, the participation of the United States government in regime changes in Latin America, involving US-backed coups d'états, which were aimed at replacing left-wing leaders with right-wing leaders, by conducting military juntas, against anti-US authoritarian regimes, those said same regimes which were not to their liking. In South America it was no secret that interventions of an economic and military variety were prevalent during the Cold War in order to get their foot in the door, as well religion was used as in white collars, black robes, and crosses, sent in aforehand in order to soften up the peoples of the regions each. During the Cold War, when a lot of us were distracted, the United States surreptitiously and underhandedly aided military officers in their seizure of power and then publicly supported them with weapons and counterinsurgency training. Do any of you remember Guns for Drugs, when we illegally aided the Nicaraguan Contras? Folks, the face put on these slaughters were ideological crusades against communism in the Americas, and it is no secret, given the internet, that the United States deployed its own troops throughout the region in counterinsurgency operations. How many of you knew that Congress cut off aid to the Nicaraguan Contras in 1982? The House of Representatives passed unanimously the Defense Appropriations Act, with the results being an overwhelming 411-0 on December 8, 1982, and it was signed by President Ronald Reagan on December 21, 1982. The amendment outlawed U.S. assistance to the Contras for the purpose of overthrowing the Nicaraguan government, while allowing assistance for other purposes. Folks, recently it was reported by the publication, The Guardian, that during the 1970s and 80s, 8 US-backed military dictatorships jointly plotted the cross-border kidnap, torture, rape and murder of hundreds of their political opponents. Yes, my friends, as we can see, our leaders back in the day were not squeaky clean, if they ever were, and today we may have to pay for their crooked underhandedness, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and given the internet, it is so easy to dig up them bones, and there is a certain sect and brood behind all the evil done in earth, directed at innocence and righteousness, and they have been hard at work since Abel's half-brother Cain was expelled from the Garden of Eden, and we know the various names of their male originator, as told us in Revelation chapter 12 and verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil, and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world, he was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. My friends, make no mistake, Satan and his angels upon their arrival in earth became leaders and rulers, and for those of you that know me, you know I preach that God has a family in earth, called the family Yahweh, as well I preach that Satan has his own family in earth, and if Satan were to have a family name, it is not shared with us in Ta Biblia. However, we know that Satan began a family with his firstborn son named Cain, Abel's half-brother, and we know that Cain married and had a son named Enoch, not to be confused with the Enoch which was not, for God took him. Genesis chapter 4 and verse 17. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived, and bare Enoch, and he builded a city, and called the name of the city, after the name of his son, Enoch. My friends, make no mistake, the same seed runs this earth, and what did Jesus say concerning Satan's children? I mean, who are they? We know they are referred to as tares in the parable of the wheat and the tares, found in Matthew chapter 13 and verses 24 through 30. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field, but while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat, and went his way. But when the blade was sprung up, and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then hath it tares? He said unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servants said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? But he said, Nay, lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest, and in the time of harvest I will say to the reapers, Gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. My friends, please know that this portion is a preface to our present-day dilemma. And what did Jesus say about the tares, folks? He said that an enemy hath done this. My friends, Satan planted his offspring, referred to as tares, in the field, which is earth, remember, and his angels were cast out with him. Folks, Satan's angels are even more tares, and they occupy dark places on thrones in earth. Folks, remember in man's 501c3 roadside infestations called churches, we were taught that Satan rebelled against God? Well, just as with everything else they told us, that is a lie, as nowhere in Ta Biblia does it say that Satan rebelled against God, as if anyone could rise up against God as to make war with him. Folks, the following is a rebellion spoken to in heaven, but it wasn't between Satan and God, but between Satan and our Father's archangel Michael, as follows, And there was war in heaven, Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. Nay, they were no longer found in heaven, as they were found in earth, being the field. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil, and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world, he was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Now, for those of you that would suggest that since this was told to John, in a dream, in the book of Revelation, that the battle spoken to in heaven has not happened yet, folks, the majority of things in the book of Revelation have happened already, and one of the few things that we await is the return of the Son of God, referred to and known to us as the second coming. Folks, please believe that the accuser is in earth, as he has been cast down from heaven. Here is more proof that Satan was cast to earth, as early as the time of Adam, as well in the time of Job. Listen, here God is speaking with Satan, referred to as the devil, the serpent, in Genesis chapter 3 and verse 15, whereas God was passing on some information to Adam, Eve, and Satan, with God knowing that Satan had had sex with Eve, and this is God talking to them. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed, it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. That verse says, I will put enmity between thee and the woman, that'd be between Satan and Eve, and folks, enmity is Strong's word number H342, with the H denoting a Hebrew word, and the Hebraic word for enmity is the word diat, pronounced iba, and means hatred, which simply means to love someone or something less. Folks, hatred is Strong's word number H8135, with the H denoting a Hebrew word, and the Hebraic word for hatred is diat pi, pronounced sinah, and means hate, hating, hatred of man or God, from G2189, with the G denoting a Greek word, and the Greek word for hatred is ekra, pronounced ekthra, and means hostility, by implication, a reason for opposition. Yes, God put a certain hatred between Satan and Eve, but reading further, God also placed that hatred between Satan's seed, called tares, and God's seed, called wheat. Remember, hatred means a reason for opposition, and I ask you, is regime change a reason for opposition? I mean, is the US hated for past Cold War infractions, by those entering and having entered our country, in direct opposition to our immigration laws? Now, here's more concerning Satan being in earth, and when. Job chapter 1 and verses 6 and 7. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord, and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. Notice it was a simple question asked by God, and a simple answer given by Satan, with no rebellion detected or suggested, but a certain respect, and Satan is not a rebel against God, and is why he showed up with the sons of God, in Job chapter 1 and verse 6, which will be another message. Folks, the reason why the unholy seed of Satan rubs us the wrong way is due to the enmity placed between two seeds in the garden, and the seed of those are the undesirables that have erased the southern border, reopening wounds, meaning they pick societal scabs which had been healed by time and duration of season, and the seed of those countries wounded have been allowed to invade our country, and I don't know why for sure, but they could be here to fight. My friends, God has set watchmen on the walls as to warn of coming dangers, and I have prayed that our Father use me, and now maybe my prayers have been answered as I foresee the head of certain darkness rearing. Folks, as we head for the door, this is what the Constitution says concerning those having taken great pains to cross our southern border. Article 4 Section 4, in part, the United States shall guarantee to every state in this Union a republican form of government, and shall protect each of them against invasion. In closing, I foresee a battle ensuing, as I can think of no other reason why 12 million people of fighting age would be invited here by our lessers, and without knowing the truth behind their presence, they very well could be here to fight, as I've watched videos here on YouTube which state the border crossers are buying guns and ammo with no background checks or waiting periods. See armed attorneys here on YouTube for the scoop and skinny, namely ATF arming illegal immigrants. Folks, they could be here to fight, as that would cause some perilous times, as told us in 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1. This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. I do not profess to know their motives for being here, but I know the government well, and the border crossers say they want a better life, and they are having all of that, while strapped, and as they continue to be enriched, we as a country continue to suffer, as our services become overwhelmed, as our resources dwindle, and as our patience wears thin. It's still a mystery. Take some time to study this, then ask yourself, why are they here, who benefits, and who is harmed, and on that note, be well, stay strong, and I thank you so much for listening, my friends.